I didn't even confirm how to pronounce your name. So, okay. So, you know how some people build a business on connection and then life tests that connection seriously in the most unimaginable way. A year into growing her coaching business, she was humming along, momentum was on her side, and she was pregnant with their first child, who she then lost in a full-term stillbirth. Everything stopped for, I can only imagine. For a long time, she protected her heart by pulling in close and letting the world get smaller. 16 months later, her daughter Mary arrived, her rainbow baby, but it took years before Shayna felt like she could take a full breath again. When she finally looked back at her life and her work, she found something surprising. The anchors that held her through the worst storm of her life were the very things she'd been helping women build all along. Now, through anchoring a mist, anchoring a mist, I have name envy. I love that. She guides women who look fine on the outside but feel like they're unraveling on the inside, back to the steady, resilient core they may not even realize it's been there all along. We have it all the time. Oh my gosh, Shayna, welcome to Curveball.
Thank you, Heather. I'm so glad to be here.
I am so glad to be here. And I am just so sorry for your loss. Like it is, I just think every mom's, my kids are 29 and 25, and I still am like, oh gosh, please let them be okay. And I just think it's just unmanageable. So I don't want to talk about like that, but like, well, but let's talk a little bit about that survival too
Yeah.
afterwards. Like in the months that you lost Lee, what did getting through the day look like for you at that time? Especially because you had this growing and thriving business. So you're like on top of the world, and then it's literally like one of those volcanoes explode and it just takes out all it blocks the sun.
Right. Well, I mean, I very definitely was living every mother's nightmare. Right? Like
Yes.
just very plain and simple. And
Oh,
I actually had a conversation with my husband about that. He had fewer friends that understood, right? And I just told him one day, I'm like, we are living their nightmare.
right.
It's hard. And yet we bring up this word connection. And
Mhm.
I go by the connection queen. Like that's my subtitle, right?
Oh, I love that. Yes.
And yeah, and so like knowing that and knowing that connection is where it all starts and ends. We have within our reach someone who understands. We just have to share
Right.
it. And
That seems
whether
like, oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. My
no,
apologies.
I'm just thinking like whether it's the loss of a child or simply like how your Tuesday went. I mean, all of those
Right.
things, we need someone to share that with. And when we are making connections, no matter what boxes they check, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
if we are living in a way that is just loving on everybody we connect with, right?
Right.
Loving them for
Yes.
who they are and where they are, when you are in that other spot, they
Right.
come running. And it was just so humbling and so beautiful.
So I think it's something that big, and it's again unmanageable. Were you surprised by, like, did you find you had to reach out to people, or were people there? Like, who came in? Because I always think it's surprising. I had a pretty significant health situation, and the people who were on my support team were really sort of surprising to me because it wasn't who you would think would maybe be on your support team. And was it like that for you, or
Oh,
what was that
absolutely.
like? Like
Yeah.
asking and then receiving too, and allowing yourself to be supported. Like that must just feel so. I mean, well, you tell me what it feels like.
Yeah. So initially, it came over me like I had been in such a giving mode in that
Mm,
connecting and giving and gratitude and all of that. And at a full stop, it became a receiving season. And like you said, you don't know who's going to come through that door.
right.
And like one of my now closest friends, she was an acquaintance. She was somebody that I worked with because of where I worked. Like I
Mm,
was in a sales position. She was in a director position at another company, or actually at the Chamber of Commerce. And so we conversed a lot. And she reached out and she said, "Me too," 36 years ago. I had
my
no
gosh.
idea. And it's that, like, I had kept in touch with her. I'm trying to think, like, I think I had been out of that job 5 or 6 years at the time of my son's birth.
Right.
And we had just been in touch because we were Facebook friends or whatever. And she reached out. She was like, "Me too." And
Wow.
now what I went through is really big. But there's so many things that we go through where we need that "me too." And unless we talk about it, unless we share, unless we're willing to make connections for other people, right? Like, if someone shares with you and you can't connect, make a connection.
Right. Well, okay. So I think that that sounds good. Someone like I am a very connecting person. Like I love to meet straight. Like I'm like the person who will like if I'm on an airplane with you, there's a chance, probably a good chance we're probably going to talk if I'm not sleeping, but we're probably going to talk a little bit at least. So I love that. But like when you say make a connection, like what does that mean to you? And then how does someone do that? Like how do you make a connection? What's the first step for people?
I think it's just listening
Yeah.
and not being so zoomed in on what you have going on or even what they have going on, but being able to zoom out and say, "Oh, so and so," or, "Oh yeah, that thing," right? Like,
Right.
make a
Yes.
connection. It helps
Yes.
you remember things. Like, if you're just generalizing it, it helps you remember things. And it helps that other person be seen.
Right. Right. And you're connecting by saying, like, if someone said, like before the call, right? We both grew up sort of in the Midwest. I don't know. Is South Dakota considered the Midwest?
That's what they say. We could fight about that.
Okay. I don't want to get into a fight, but we both, because I could hear it in your voice. I was like, oh, she's from like the northern Midwest, or and you are just be, and so it'd be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I was born in Wisconsin, So then now we have that point of connection. That would be an example of that.
Exactly.
So you said you did not let people into your world for years, and even after you had your rainbow baby Mary. So how do you know when you're? I mean, how do you know when protecting your heart is healthy, but like isolating? Like, because sometimes I think, well, I don't know. How do you know like what you're doing is healthier, helping or hurting? How do you know that?
Um, so I think for me, it was a form of protection. It was,
Mm,
I didn't, at first, it was, this is not my first baby, and I'm not having that conversation with people, right? Like, that was
mm.
just, that was
Right.
too much
Yes.
for my heart, right?
Right. Yes.
And so, yeah, if they didn't know about Lee, they didn't know about me. Like,
Right.
that's simple. And it was when I started to kind of rediscover those anchors that you mentioned in your intro. Like, those
Right.
anchors
Yes.
for me, as I went through and rediscovered those for myself, right? So I could like name what it was that I had built, to kind of just answer the question, like, how did I survive? Because
Right.
a lot of people wondered, I did too, right? And so I went and I searched and I found these answers, whether it was in an old notebook or like this master class that I took or what have you.
Right.
And I found some of these answers. And of course, as a coach, you have to, like, when you find something, you can't
Yes.
not share it, right?
Right. Right. Yes.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah. And so I started by first sharing it with that safe circle to answer that question for them and for me, right? Like, what it was that helped me to survive. And then from there, it became, well, I need to share this farther. I need to share this
Right.
bigger. Like, how do I do that? And I actually was sitting down, um, over the course of the last year and a half. So I have a sisterhood. So I have this group coaching program. And I had created this lesson for them, or this bigger master
Mhm.
class of these things that I had discovered, right?
Right.
And with that, it was getting a good response. Like, we revisited a couple pieces of it and we just kind of rolled with it. And
Right.
then last summer, so my husband is a logger. And so he goes out in the woods and he cuts trees down.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? That is so funny. My great grandfather was a logger too in Wisconsin. That is just another connection point. Yes.
Small world, exactly.
Wow. That is like a super cool sounding job.
Yes. Yeah. He loves it. He gets to be in his machine or working on it or actually cutting down trees and just being in the woods.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so sometimes his job site is just far enough away from home that the commute becomes too long. And
Mhm.
so we go work camping.
Oh, how fun.
So we set up our camper on his job site, and I get to go wherever I want to go with my little girl. And so we just go. And so last summer we were set to go to the Bighorn. So in Wyoming, a couple hours away,
Mhm.
and my car broke down. And then the choice became, can we be the second crew that goes so my husband can fix my car?
Right.
And then the second crew never went. And so my plans for the summer were changed. And I was like, well, okay, like, how do I do this? Right. Like, I had all these plans and how that was going to
Right.
work, in
Sure.
another state. And so I sat down and I started journaling. And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
God, like, what is this going to look like? Or what can this, like, I have a fresh slate again. So what's it going to be?
Right.
And as I'm journaling, these journal prompts started pouring out of me. Like, I just, like, these are the questions that I had been answering for myself that were building my resilience. Like,
Right.
I think I wrote down like 40 of these journal prompts in one
That's
sitting.
incredible. Oh my
And
gosh.
they started falling under the column or under these pillars or anchors, right, of these different
Right.
categories. And they just kept coming. And I was like, okay. And so I wrote a guided journal and I published it this fall.
Oh,
And it was just
congratulations.
boom, boom, boom.
What is it? I love it I just love it when you get the idea, right, as a creative, and then you're rewarded with the divine download. And when you get the divine download, it's like because I
Mhm.
know what it feels like when you put out like my analogy is like you are sort of casting a line off a pier, and then I'm literally waiting for God to be like, okay, it's go time. Like, here's your inspiration. And then the beautiful part of that is it literally just comes right out of you. And then it creates something that's really useful, not only to you, but to other people too. I love that when that happens.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this idea of anchors. What do they mean? What do they mean to you? Because I think anchors can be super subjective. Some people can view them as positive or negative. Something that helps to hold you steady and still in times of chaos, or something that can hold you back too and keep you from moving. So, what do they look like in your world?
Definitely the first. Something that keeps you steady when chaos is trying to swirl around you so
Mhm.
that it doesn't veer you off course,
Right.
right?
God,
So you're not
I
necessarily
swear to God, I am literally like every person I've interviewed so far in Curveball in 2026. This has been like, what do they say? Like, at first, God whispers, and then he's like, nudge, nudge, and then he like shakes you by your shoulders. Like, I swear to God, this is such a recurring theme, which is this idea of getting grounded when things go sideways. So, okay, so tell me more about. I just am laughing because I'm really like, okay, I'm getting the message. I'm getting the
got
message.
it,
Yeah,
right? So we have a lot going on just in general,
sure.
right? And yet a lot of us were like, yeah, life's pretty good, but I kind of want more, right? Like, I wondering what else is out there, or what am I
Mm-hmm.
missing, or just like, where can some of that steadiness come? Because sometimes when my Tuesday doesn't turn out the way I want it to, then everything is crap,
Right.
right?
Yes,
And then
yes.
it takes me 2 weeks to recover and all the stuff, right? And so these anchors are pieces of the puzzle. And I almost call them pillars too, because
Mhm.
we stack on them. We make them heavier. We make them more fortified, is the word I use. And so,
Right.
for each of these anchors that I teach and that I hold close, um, we stack, we build, we fortify them so that when the wind blows, they don't knock over.
Right. Oh, that just reminds me of like palm trees get stronger the more the wind blows them. So when they're down sideways, they're like, because there's a hurricane, they're like, yeah, our roots are getting super strong. So then these are things. So does everyone have the same pillars? Like, do you have what are some of these pillars? So like people could be looking at their life or like reflecting on what's going on with them and
Yep.
say, gosh, maybe I have an anchor or I need an anchor. I need to fortify an anchor.
Yes. And a lot of times, so one of the anchors is gratitude.
Right.
And a lot of times you hear the word gratitude, and I heard this actually from one of my current clients a year or so before she started working with me. She's like, gratitude, schmatitude. Like, I've heard it all, right?
Right.
But it's not the fluffy stuff. It's not like, what are 3 things you're grateful for? It's like, no, anchor into that gratitude so much so that when you think about that thing you're grateful for, you cry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is so deep and so sustaining that you're
Right.
like, I have this thing. Like,
What would be an
what?
example? Like, what's an example of that in your life?
An example, and now gratitude, the one I go to is having a paid for house.
Oh, right.
But
Yes.
there's like 17 offshoots of why or how that exists. And um, then trickle down to, in this moment, I get to do this because I have a paid for house. Like when you can,
Right.
oh, into something like that,
Mm-hmm.
okay? It's my my car broke down. I had another car. Like, we
Right.
actually have thought about selling this old car, and it came in really handy.
Right.
And
Yes.
yet you can, when you really root into gratitude, it's not just the car. It's the
Right.
17 steps before that. It's
Sure.
that decision to go to Financial Peace University. That was our decision. Like,
Right.
to pay things off and then to get
Is
crazy and
that
pay the
that
house
Dave
off.
Ramsey? Is
And
that that Dave
yeah,
Ramsey program?
yep.
That Oh, that's super cool. I love
Yeah.
that. That's really
But
amazing. Right.
when you're anchoring into something like gratitude, you got to dig deep. You got to go all the steps, like this.
Right.
You're cataloging. You're cataloging that abundance and that gratitude
Right.
to
Yes.
where it is now anchored. It is not something that, oh, I'm grateful I can tie my shoes, right?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
there, and now I don't, I say that and I'm like, hey, but there are people that can't,
Right. There
right?
are people who cannot tie their shoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I I hear that and I'm like, oh yeah, but there are people that can't, right? And so again, that
Right.
becomes an anchor, and we can start that simply, like that
Right.
organically, and then step back, that zoom out that I mentioned that says, hey, but there are people that can't. Like, it's not that mundane.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, like it is like sometimes like I'm grateful just that like I didn't lose any socks in the laundry that day. Like I
exactly.
all my socks matched up at the end of the day. Like, but it is sort of fun because I do know like when you start to look for things, especially when you're feeling down, as my aunt would say, when you're in the gloom room, like when you start to look for things, like I just always take wonder in like if I'm looking at like, I was just driving cross country actually to drive to Ohio. I live in Colorado normally. And I was having such an appreciation for our interstate highway system. How I can just get on the road and and I can get to anywhere I need to go in the US, and just the vastness of the US. Like just and it just changes your complete it, it, it- it's awe-inspiring. And then I just think like how everything is. I get what you're saying. I don't want to go down this road of like my own gratitude, but I'm always like, if I'm ever at a loss for something, I'm always just like, God, how did this like am like who made this water bottle? Like how did this even get to be made? And then I'm just like, there's so much wonder that we just don't
Mm-hmm.
know. One of the things I've noticed consistently too is that you're really good about asking questions like, how did I survive? What is going on? What are my anchors? Which I think is interesting. So even so what's like, I don't want you to give away your whole methodology, but what would be an example of a surprising anchor that people don't really, because gratitude, I think people understand like, and there's a reason all the gurus and everyone talks about it, because it works, it makes a
Mm-hmm.
difference, you know. So what would be something that would be surprising to people?
I think the simpler you go, the better. And so another, and
Mm,
I almost overarchingly proclaim this one, it's just beautiful thing, like noticing, like you're saying.
right.
Um, Not necessarily even taking it into gratitude, but noticing things. Like,
Yes.
oh, that shirt I picked out matches my shoes. Like, huh, that's kind of cool. Or
Yeah.
even just asking yourself, what do I want to see more? Right? Like,
Right.
because then it's not the hate and the discourse, or the political parties, or the this, or um, the fact that so and so is not talking to so and so, or right, like within
Right.
a
Yes.
family. It's like, how about I want to notice the beautiful things.
Right. Yes. Well, what's interesting is I interviewed one of the have you ever heard of Heart Math?
No,
Oh,
or maybe I have, but go ahead.
girl, you're gonna okay. It is the coolest thing because these guys are all these like esoteric thinkers, and they're just because they want like they sort of made the heart into this very sophisticated pump for your body, but they were just wondering there's so many like colloquialisms around the heart, like put your heart into it. My heart broke, my heart just burst, you know, just like all these feelings around the heart. And they're like, I wonder if there's anything to it. What's really interesting is you can just think about things that cause you stress or discomfort, not necessarily discomfort, but like cause you stress. And you your heart will start creating waves that almost look like an earthquake. But when you just think about things, you don't even have to like really drop into it. You can just think about things you appreciate, like my sister has a little Chihuahua puppy. I really appreciate puppies. Your heart will the waves will automatically smooth out like this. And that's sort of what you want to. So I like this idea of allowing your heart to also be part of the decision making process, because it is wise as someone who really ignored their heart for I've ignored my heart for so long, and you are protecting your heart and then to let people in little by little. So you said it took about 9 months after your daughter was born before you could finally exhale. So what was that like to have Mary, and how old is Mary now?
She's just over 3,
Oh, Mary, I love that
and
name, Mary. It's so sweet.
yeah, it's short for Meredith.
Mm.
So yeah, she is just a ball of energy and joy and love and just sweetness and sass, and like, she knows. She
Oh
knows.
yeah. Oh, 3-year-olds are
Um,
like their own little machines. Like they are so funny. And
they
they
are.
and they know like because they understand like they just have that little sense of independence, you know, too. Like they sort of know, oh, I love that
Yeah.
age because they do
Oh yeah.
get their
Yeah.
personalities are really kicking in.
Well, and she knows, and she it's funny. I was thinking about this too though the other day. I'm like, I am making so many rules, right? Like, just these little minuscule little rules. And it's something that I teach on and coach on too, is that we make the rules. Like,
Mm,
nobody else Like there's a few laws that get in our way of what we want to do, but
Right.
really, like overall, we just make the rules. And we have to remember that, like everything from boundaries to burnout to I mentioned Tuesdays. That's what I'm stuck on today. We're not even recording on a Tuesday, but like how
Right.
your Tuesday goes, there are rules that you can make. And so, like the other night, my daughter wakes up in the middle of the night demanding hot chocolate at 3 a.m. And I'm like, well, honey, it's dark outside. We don't have hot chocolate when it's dark. Like,
Right. Yes.
like,
Yeah.
right. And yet we can make rules like that for ourselves.
Right.
And and so a mantra that I have with having her and then also getting to do this, that she's part of the deal.
Mm.
And that means
Tell me
for
more
this
about that. Yeah.
yes, so that means for this conversation, her being part of the deal is that she's at Auntie Sheila's house and she gets to go do that thing, right?
Right.
A different conversation or obligation would mean something else, right? Like she
Right.
gets to work next to me. She has a workbook that she uses, and that's kind of her other thing, right?
Right. Right.
And so we make those rules. And when we get to sit down and make rules, like all the rules, we get to make all the rules. Like let's just
Right.
sit in that for a minute,
God,
right?
that is okay. So I just want to let you know that I did not really appreciate that I get to, like, that there are, of course I knew this, like, but I didn't really know it to the point that I actually made, like, put a stake in the ground and I'm like, how did I not like really figure this out? Like, it's because like I had this like serious brain situation happen. And when I came back from my business, I was like, well, I don't want to go back to business as usual and just like, and have it be like, God, remember that summer your brain broke? How crazy that was? Like, it was a life changing experience. I really wanted to change things. And one of the things I really focused on was stillness, which I felt was very radical, and also really making decisions that were aligned. And one of the things I really realized was that, of course, I've made decisions that are aligned in my life, but I did a lot of things that I thought were just the right thing to do, or that based on advice from people who I felt were more successful or further down the road. And I was like, well, that sounds like a good advice. I'll do that. And so I think that is sort of that feeling of alignment, too, but it's not necessarily this, um, I don't know. I just have to ask myself, like, is this truly aligned? And my heart will give me the answer. Like, that's where I really look for that answer. But is that sort of the same thing? Like that idea of alignment and not just doing what, because I remember just thinking, why would I think there's only one way to like have an entrepreneurial business? Like, why do I think the only way to launch something is by following, like the launch? I don't know. It's just I think interesting when you ask yourself, like, and one of the biggest questions I ask myself, and it always resolves with a great answer, is how could this be easy? That's my favorite question to ask too.
So
So
your question is, how can this be easy?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Well,
because like you can put a lot of, if there's a limiting belief, they can be pretty sneaky. And I think that you can put a lot of like reasonable obstacles in your way. And so if I just strip away like just those obstacles, then it just becomes much less scary. And then just my track record of knowing when I put something off, it ends up being bigger than I think it is, but it's like, yeah, it is that idea of, um, yeah, just asking, because I think when you ask the question, you're just triggering possibility in your brain. So your brain likes to solve problems like that. Your brain likes to answer questions like that. And then your brain will say, well, why do you think you need, like, I remember one of the things I did is, I would put together these opt-ins, right? And I'm a branding person. So I would always like design these like cute little ebooks and I would think like, how long is this going to take me? An hour and a half? No, it's going to take me probably 4 hours. It's probably going to take me close to a whole day to do it and get it ready and everything like that. And then I'm just like, what if I just put this in a Google Doc that literally takes me 20 minutes, for instance? Like, who cares? Do you think someone's gonna, it's probably easier for someone to consume. And if the content's good, does it need to have a picture or colors? Like that would be an example of that. And that's something that then makes something much more doable for me because you get, I just always, anytime I ask the question, my brain's like, all right, I got the answer. Eventually it comes.
Yeah. Well, so you asked like what that looked like to be able to breathe again, right?
Yes.
And I keep thinking about like when I decided to breathe again, and a mentor and coach of mine, we sat down and we formulated this sisterhood that I mentioned that I
Mhm.
still have today. And I sat down, I think this was September, and I launched it in November. And from the moment of saying yes, it was, I kept feeling yes. Like I just, everything I was doing, I was like, yes, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But I also received a huge, huge amount of PTSD, an attack. Like I hardly slept for a month. I was right back in that room delivering Lee. I was I was under attack. And yet I kept hearing yes. Like I'm like, I'm supposed to keep going after I open
Right.
myself to a yes. Like this is the attack I'm receiving internally.
Yeah. So you,
And
wait, when you
yet,
attack it, you were attacking yourself.
I mean, I feel like I was being attacked by the devil, like
Oh,
being open to receiving again or to going out into the world again felt was unsafe and was like scary and just all the
sure.
things, right?
Right. Yes.
So
Yes.
opening up myself was opening up everything.
Right. Oh my
And
gosh. Yeah. That
yeah,
makes
and so
perfect sense.
yeah, and I spent a month just reliving like in this like internal hell. And
Oh.
I still kept receiving that yes too. It was so like whiplashy,
So then how do
if I
you,
can say
yeah, I
that.
can imagine that you're just like, okay, like I'm hearing this yes, and I feel like I need to be sharing what I've learned, but then the pain of sharing, like it's not, that's, I think that's one of the things that's really, I think, so surprising about my own journey to like alignment. And I still don't have all the answers, people. Like I'm still seriously trying to figure it out, but it's like it's not, you think, oh, I'm doing all these very positive things and therefore the path should be smooth, and it's not.
Mhm.
Like you're like, here I'm doing these things, I'm opening myself up, and your body is just like rebel, just being like, what are you doing? So I can really appreciate that because, well, just the whole nervous system and everything too. Like we,
Yeah.
and to be triggered like that. So how do you work through that? Is it just persistence that, and then that voice just keeps on getting smaller and smaller? Or what was your way out of that loop?
I think at first it was I had to push through, and it was feeling those feelings because
Mm.
I genuinely it felt like PTSD, right? Like I was right there again.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yes.
it was still one of those things that I was like, I still have to keep going. Like I can pace myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can breathe. The um i- in business, like the yeses will come later, like knowing and being kind of rooted in where I wanted to go and what that vision
Right.
looked like. Like
Yes.
what God had given me in that vision is like I needed to keep pursuing that. And yet we need to pace ourselves. We need to breathe through
Right.
those
Yeah.
emotions
Yeah. Yes.
and acknowledge them because yes, I say I pushed through, but I didn't push them down, right? Like I didn't step them
Mm.
farther. Like,
Okay. Wait.
yeah,
This is like the bumper sticker moment. Wait, you didn't, you pushed through, but you did not push down. Oh,
right.
that's so good. That's so good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess I've never said it that way before, but it is. It's like I had to keep going, and I knew that because I
Right.
had a vision.
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And so no matter what that is, and no matter what's coming up, it just needs to be worked through. And
Right.
sometimes it takes, that for me, that was probably about 45 days of not so fun. But when I pushed
Right.
publish, right? Like when I pushed go, it's
Yes.
like it all left. It was like, okay, we lost. It was the craziest thing.
Right.
But it was that pace. It was that steadiness. It was that,
Yes.
no, I keep hearing yes. So as crappy as it is, like I did not sleep for those 45 days.
Oh my gosh. Right.
And it was just like, I just had to keep going. Right.
Right. Yes.
And, wake up in the middle of the night and cry, but it's not like distract or it wasn't, I needed to do more to distract myself or
Right.
work through feelings. It's just like I just had to feel it
Yes.
and say, okay, but that's not what's happening today. And I
Right.
can keep going. And I can keep hearing that yes. Even if it is
Right.
alongside the crazy that's the only, like, it was just these crazy things and feelings coming up for me. But I knew it wasn't attached to what I was doing
Right.
in a way
Right.
that was going to stick with that. It wasn't going to keep
Yes.
going. I knew that it was because I said yes.
Right. That makes perfect sense. That is, because we do sort of have a choice, right? Like you even said, like when I chose, you said very decisively when I chose to share my heart again. And so it's like there was obviously like some sort of point where you're like, okay, and I'm not. What did that even look like for you?
It was scary. It was a lot of tears. We also, at the time, my husband and I started to go back to church. And as adults, we had never gone to church.
Interesting.
And so meeting a whole bunch of new people, and
Right.
it was one of those, I know healing came along also with accepting Jesus back into my heart.
Sure. Right. Yes.
But in those first few months of going back to church, every person I met, it was like, "Bleh!" Like, all this is my story and I'm crying about it, And
Yeah.
not that I didn't deserve to have those tears or any of that. But I'm like, whew, those are the people you can, like,
Yes.
they're not going to take it on for themselves, if that makes
Right.
sense. Like,
No, that
'cause
makes, I think that
yeah,
that's like the ultimate definition of compassion, which is why I think someone like Jesus could hold compassion for so many people is obviously you want the best for people, but you also know that everyone is on their own journey and like they're going to, and so to not interfere with that journey. But I think it's so interesting about God. Like God never interferes, but the second you need him, you're like, God, he's like, I'm here, like immediately. I
yeah.
just think that that's really amazing. So talk to me about Anchors Amidst. So that's your business now. So talk to me a little bit about how you work with, it sounds like you work with women primarily. So talk to me about who you work with and how you help them.
Yeah. So Anchoring Amidst is actually the title to my guided journal.
Love that.
And with that, I have these anchors, right, that we've been talking about. So what I've done with these anchors is I've pulled those out into what I would call a playbook. And we walk through those group style in my sisterhood. It is something that I can work with someone one-on-one, and we go through it masterclass style because that's how I learned these things, not knowing that I learned them.
Right.
And I've
Yeah.
been applying them, right? Like one here and one there and a bite over there and a piece over here. And I put it all in one place. And so the journal is very much a subliminal kind of way, like just that soft thing that we can hold within a day,
Right.
right? Like you said, I'm good at asking questions, and I put almost 400 in a journal.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
that's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. And so I work with women, and we work usually at like an every other week scale. So because I work with my clients every other week, it also syncs with my cycles and my need for like where I need refilling. I can
Right.
cycle that in just
Sure.
for myself, like as a coach.
Yes.
But then I teach that as well. So I call that calendar conquering. And so that's where we lay everything out and we make
Right.
all the rules. So yeah, I
Oh
help you
my
make your
gosh,
rules.
I love that. Yeah, we get to make the rules. And we've been told, I think we've been told so long that, oh no, there's like, yes, there are laws. Like, I mean, I know that there are laws in marketing, for instance,
Yeah.
but there's not only one way of marketing, if that makes sense. But if you're doing it, yes, there are like, but it's not like there's one way. It's just like, oh my gosh, if I could climb up on my roof and shake my fist at the sky, that's what I would say. Okay, so Shayna, if people want to work with you, they're interested in getting to know more about anchoring or anchoring amidst all the craziness. And, our world is extra crispy crazy right now. So I think that this is perfect timing. Where can they learn more about you?
You can go to anchoringamidst.com or shaynaharkins.com. I'm there.
Alrighty.
If at symbol Shayna Harkins, you'll find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you, Heather.
I
Thank
so
you for having
appreciate
this
it.
space for it and for sharing your perspective too. I love just the banter we enjoyed.
I know it's nice. I wish you lived in Denver because we could for sure be friends.
Yes. I'm not that far.
I know you should. Well, if you're ever in town, like, I mean, we should. Well, I'm going to we'll finish this. All right.